Yeah, great.
Yes, my first question, how difficult is it to work as a labor union in Indonesia?
I think the first, because our country is so big, so we have problem to operating in our country in a very efficient, because sometimes there is problem in Aceh, in Papua, in Kalimantan, and then we are lack of the equipment to facility to communicate, even to visit them in a very short way. Yeah.
So, and how do you try to improve that?
So we have to increase the way we communicate, and also to increasing their own capacity, not very dependent for the national health.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about labor conditions? Are they worsening here or getting better?
No, I think after Indonesia legalized the law number 13203 5 years ago, when Indonesia recognized labor market flexibility, more and more workers displaced from their work and working in the outsource and then labor contract. And then many people here live without the future, because maybe next year they will be dismissed, or they're losing their job when their contract cannot be extended.
What do you try to do to turn it back?
So we have to change the labor employment policy. Indonesia should be not follow labor market liberalization very soon, because most Indonesian people working in the vulnerable workers and blue collar workers, not low skill and low education. So Indonesian government have to protecting them by social security and give skill training, so they are not victim of the industrial race to the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Aren't you afraid that by your union work, factories will try to move to China, where it is easier to work?
Used to be, but now China, this year they introduced new labor law about environmental. Also, there are some restriction about for the labor intensive manufacture. So their salary also getting more and more getting higher. We almost the same now. I think we are not afraid, because after, for instance, the lift of quota for the manufacturing clothes last year, to our export is increasing, because Indonesia maybe get respecting from the international after we ratify all ILO core convention. So we are more or less more clean our production than China.
Mm-hmm. If China is not a threat, what it might be a threat for work in Indonesia?
Of course, there are in some extent they are threat, yeah, because there are some their product come to Indonesia in the very cheap one by illegal way. So some domestic who produce clothes here, the people prefer to buy very low cost of from the China, not because the things come not through a legal procedure but through illegal way. That's the challenge also to the local industrial.
Mm-hmm. And how do you deal with the informal sector, with informal workers? Do you try to reach them?
Yes, you know, in Indonesia now 70% workers are informal economy, and then the number is increasing year by year. Now, in order to union to keep alive, supporting by the workers, we have to recruiting them, and then even we have to introduce them to coverage by social security. Mm-hmm. This, my union is the one who introduced it to the government, and the government agree putting the social informal economy to cover by social security. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it's difficult to reach these people because they are working on their own down the streets. They are not organized, of course. So how do you reach them?
Yeah, because there are some type of informal economy. There are also informal economy in the seasonal time, only working during the after harvest time from the rural area. Also those who only waiting their application be accepting. So we start first from the informal economy has been there for long years, has been permanent there. So not like in the seasonal, only 3 months, 4 months. So we want to recruit those who has been there, and then their income is more or less has been stable than the other who only seasonal working time. So it's easy also to recruiting them, easy also to organize and putting them to member of social security. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We saw in Riau that KSBSI is working together with Wally, but it seems a very awkward kind of cooperation because there are opposite interests. No?
Yeah, yes, you're right, because we don't have yet a common idea about how we should overcome the differences of our opinion. For instance, the issue of whether we can employ unemployment people by extending palm oil industry, of course by deforestation. But if you are not cutting our tree, so people will not have the job. So this still the two ideology differences will not have yet met what the solution. So we need to, of course, to meet with them to discuss about this, but not yet so far we have. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's very difficult because, of course, there is no alternative. Everything is just palm oil plantations.
Yeah, because Indonesia, we are facing problem of huge unemployment, and then we need the very short time to before that become political and economic problem bigger. So that's why when there is the issue about climate change, we have to keep our forest there, but in the meantime people have to eat because they have children, they have no money. So I think international should also look what the kind of the cooperation to be put in Indonesia. So in the meantime we can keep climate change better, and then but we have also alternative to live.
So last question for the future. I know there's a lot of work to do for the union, but what is your first priority now? What you would like to achieve?
The challenging Indonesia first is we want to keep our membership increase, so that more member we have, more political bargaining we can have. The second is how to increase our capacity for social dialogue. So you have to come to the government with the alternative policy to make decent work of workers is better. Because if we don't have alternative, only demanding, and in the meantime Indonesia have multi-problem, so trade union will be not look like credible. So we want to increase our credibility to be putting us as the credible partner for social dialogue, who can give this political, economic and alternative to the government.
So at the moment you're not a credible partner yet?
No, to some extent we have been sitting in many places in tripartite body, but I mean the cover issue we raise only still in the macroeconomic things. We want to be recognized also when government discussing about investment law, or like export processing zone law, or even about the tax income law. We want to be sitting as the credible partner to give our opinion to make it law is better to the people and to workers.
Thank you. We heard before several times that members of the union inside the factory are often intimidated. So it's not really open, but these are some small things that happen. Can you give some examples, or does it still exist?
Yes, of course that's the effect. Some companies want to remove the labor status from permanent to be outsourced or to be labor contract. The management want to avoid to pay severance pay. So sometimes they ask in the workers change their status, and they don't want. And finally, they put workers working in the vulnerable job, in order to make them bore and then resign. That's the tactic. The second tactic, they send them working to another chain, the sister of the company in faraway place, and then they have to leave their family, and then instead of working far away, they said better I resign or I accept the working in the labor contract. So many tactical has been done to avoid to pay severance pay and then better wages. And even the harsh thing is last 1 year, 3 out person put in prison because to express their freedom of association. 2 in Batam, 1 in Kalimantan, 1 in Tangerang.
These were all delegates from the union or just normal workers who were not a member of the union?
No, our member. This all, I'm just referring to our member, but other union also have problem with us. But why this happened? Because our have problem with the labor inspection. Labor inspection now is not centralized like in the past, but in the hand of the regional government. And then almost all labor inspectorate are not professional. Also some scandal of, also there's some issue of the corruption scandal when we telling them to inspect the one company, but finally there is no proper investigation and there is no also the way out of the problem.
Okay.